How far are you willing to go? The drive, the sweat, the blood, the tears, your determination through the pain and all the suffering, people overlooking you, telling you that you're not good enough. You have to believe that you're great. And with you believing that you're great, anything you want to do, you can achieve. No one can stop you. Only you can stop yourself. Keep driving. Keep uplifting yourself. Keep going. Keep going. Nothing, and no one can stop you. That goal you want, you can achieve it. How you inspire people is going to be up to you. Keep going. Never give up. Never give up. Keep going. Never give up.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy IkonE. And we here on 910 Sports once again in the building. So first and foremost, I always got to do it right. I gotta thank God for this opportunity to be able to come on this great platform because without him, we wouldn't be able to have all of this. Before I introduce my guys, I want to say shout out to HHQ TV. We just basically partnered up with them. We was able to upgrade ourselves as far as with the website. So please check us out on our new radio station 168 Radio and the brand new look of it all with the HHQT family, HHQ TV family. And shout out to the Roku Channel 18 Studios, who also carries our programs each and every week. So we just want to shout out those two. I want to get that out the way. So, you know what I'm saying? So introducing my guys from my right to my left, I got the extraordinary, the great, you know what I'm saying, coach. He should be the coach of the year, coach of the decade. He up there with doggone, I'm talking about, he up there with Pat Riley and Phil Jackson. And, you know what I'm saying? He up there with Lombardi and he up there with all the greats. You know, so I got Coach Lamont Goins in the building. What's going on? And I don't care
Hey,
what y'all say. Y'all can hate all you want. I got Lamont Goins in the building. How y'all doing?
watch,
Coach Goins.
watch out. It's always a pleasure. And what can I say when my main man's got his Bass Pro Shop? Only thing I did today is go to Bucky's, and I can't run with that. So it's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure.
Hey, Buddy got them good, Buddy got them good brisket sandwiches. So, hey, every time I try to get a chance, hey, I'm gonna tell you a quick story before I introduce this man. First time we were traveling somewhere, so I was telling him about Bucky's, and he kind of I think he might have heard about it, but he never been. So we went to Bucky's for the first time. This joker walking around the store like he at Walmart grocery shopping. I said, Lord, boy, they can't take black folk nowhere. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, introducing my other man, been rocking and rolling with me for 6 years now. Your baby mama favorite host, Cowboys biggest fan, the agency of the year, because I don't care how sorry you are, he want to be your agent. You know what I'm saying? The great Jacob the Great in the building. What's going on, family?
What's up, man? Glad to be in the land of the living. Let's get all the way into this business.
Okay, so you act like you want to talk about something before
He got
what you
something on
want
his
to talk about
mind.
because he been talking about he better talk junk. So what you want to talk about? I'm gonna see what you want to talk about first. We might be on the same page, but what you want to talk about?
So I just been seeing this all day, man. These different takes from Stephen A. Smith. These different takes from a lot of the people that be on Kendrick Perkins, and they talking about the new age of the media. They was like, Jordan got criticized, Magic got criticized, Bird got criticized, Charles Barkley got criticized, uh, 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 Malone got criticized, and so there was like these new players in the league. They stay so sensitive that you should just give them a contract with Northern bathroom tissue, Sherman bathroom tissue, and they need a contract with Johnson baby oil. Cause they all sensitive. So with that being said, I think that in fact they did call LeBron James name. And they was like, when did basketball players get that emotional about everything? So I just thought it was interesting, man. That and I've been saying this for a long time. You know, especially since we in this load management era. You know, if if you don't feel good, Icon, can you just take 10 days off from work? Like what? I mean, like can we get some load management for the 9 to 5? The everyday worker. But these basketball players, man, the load management. They simply you can't say nothing to them. Oh, you're supposed to talk to me like that. Talk to me like I'm a human being. Just crying about everything, man. So, what do you think about the sensitivity of today's NBA?
Well, I'm gonna say this. First of all, I'm gonna say this. I feel like these old school players. At the end of the day, if they had social media back in the day, I think some of these old school players would be. We would see some of their more sensitive side more than we do. So I think some of it is kind of overblown when they talk about the sensitivity of these players. Yes, a lot of them are kind of sensitive, and I wouldn't even say LeBron is the most. KD is probably the most because KD will argue with a doggone squirrel if they say something to him. So at the end of the day, so at the end of the day, when they always say LeBron, use LeBron as the poster boy for the crying and the carrying on, I don't think he's the number one guy when it comes to that. You know what I mean? But I do feel like if you went back and I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna put it like this. Perfect example. You see all of a sudden all these old school players are getting hit with all these sexual harassment in certain suits now. That's because all that stuff from the past is coming to the forefront. Whether you believe every story, you gonna tell me some of this stuff they was doing back in the day. Shoot, these players, the NBA almost got shut down in 1979 and 1980 because of the coke usage. The coke usage was so high in the NBA. If it weren't for Magic and Bird, there wouldn't have been no Michael Jordan. There wouldn't have been no LeBron. There wouldn't have been no Kobe because the coke usage was so high. So you don't think if you on cocaine, you ain't doing something crazy on cocaine? Stop it. So these players who want to criticize the players of today need to kind of look themselves in the mirror a little bit more than what they're doing. I'm
Hold up,
tired of
Icon.
seeing so.
Hold up, Icon. Are you in our generation, man, or do you got a relapse, or are you going through male menopause? You think you 25 again? Cause you
No,
always
I'm just
taking up
tired.
for
I'm
these.
tired of
You
these old
always
school
taking up
players
for these
always
gun jokers,
crying.
man.
Let it
You always
go.
take.
It's not
You
your
all,
era. Let it go. They
so
just
you
cry
say
about
so.
everything. These players today can't do nothing right. Y'all just mad because y'all let these white people pay y'all $30,000 a year, and Michael Jordan, LeBron, and Kobe, and or whoever, or KD, or the 12th man on the bench making $20 million a year. Y'all the ones that let all that stuff ride back in the day. Y'all were more of a slave to these white owners than these NBA players are nowadays. These NBA think about LeBron. LeBron is the one who kind of helped these pioneer these players to get all this money. Whether you think they deserve it or not, I'm just tired of hearing all these old school players complain all the time. Let it go. Let these men live. Good
Yep.
Lord, we're not going back to 1985 where the score was 79-75. We not. Let it
Yeah.
go.
Right.
But go ahead. Go ahead.
And here's my take on it. Right. Is and I'm not gonna play middle of the road. I'm just gonna take it to the glass. But in that is when you look at today's game and the money that they're playing the players, that's just because of the money's out there. The old school guys, that's why they're commentating. That's why they've gone into different avenues because they weren't making the money that the young guys are making. So of course, what are they gonna do? They're gonna come out and they're gonna bash. But IkonE, you're right with the social media. If that was out the way it is today, there'd be the same issues. Who's going up to the room? Think about when they were saying how Wilt Chamberlain would just send women the other guys, the opponent's room before the game. And the same thing with what Jacob is saying is, what do you do and why is everybody so sensitive? Same thing with the media. Everybody got to show there's enough piece of the pie for everybody to have a slice. So what you got to do is count your blessings. Commentate on the game, and if the guy stinks it up, call him out. If he can't take it, just what, and just like Jacob said, you think about load management, right? I wish I'd walk in my job and say, "Yo, I'm not gonna play for 10 days." Because my knees are bothering me, my hands hurting because I'm tired of writing reports. So I think there's definitely what you guys are saying is right on both sides of the spectrum. But people got to understand that sometimes players play and they just don't have a good game.
Hey, man. If we can create a position in this in the NBA, and call this position the young man defending program. IkonE gonna be the president.
I'm just
I
saying,
couldn't marry
every
this
week
man.
it's something. One of these old school players. Why put it like this? Why are you commentating on the game? This first of all, you commentating on the game that's paying you now after you play, but you
Right.
continue to dog out something that you don't like. So it's like going on a job and saying, "I hate my manager" or "I hate the other employees," but you show up every day. When you hear, what's the guy on Sirius XM that used to play back in the day in the '90s? That got his own show with the white guy. He got these players. It just kills me. Like when they talk about Shaq and they talk about Charles, and they always complain about these old school players. Well, quit. I mean, these new cool school players. Quit commentating on them if you're gonna hate on them. It drives me crazy. I'm not saying you are totally wrong, but it
Right.
don't got to be a consistently week after week thing. Out play. You know what pisses me off more than anything? These commentators, these Stephen A. Smiths, these commentators who think they know everything and don't play the game.
Right.
Yeah, I'm quick to tell you. This is just my opinion. I'm not gonna say that. Well, I've been doing it for 30 years, so my opinion matters. No, it don't. It does not matter. It just that's why Stephen A. Smith got to the point now where you want to go back at players all the time. When did you ever see a Mal Rashad go at players? When did you see a Stuart Scott go at players? You didn't see that. But
Right,
Nope.
every
right,
time you
right.
turn around, Stephen A. Smith is on YouTube and he on TikTok every week going after another player. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'm tired of hearing about Stephen A. Smith attacking another player, and he got this vendetta against LeBron. He done turned into the black Skip Bayless. Why,
Right.
bro? Let it
Right.
go. The man
Right.
don't like you because look, because you quit cool with Jordan, and you could. But I tell you like this: Jordan dismiss you as quick as he can if you do want to say one thing against him. You see what he did to Charles Barkley, and him and Charles
Right.
Barkley were tighter than fish grease.
That's
They were
right. But
you see the first time Charles Barkley said something against Michael Jordan he didn't like. They ain't been friends in 20, 15 years.
yep.
So
That
so at the end of the day, but go ahead, because
be, no, be,
I'm
be
gonna
be
get all.
careful, because that's Jacobs man. That's Jacobs man talking about this arrogance. But you're exactly right. I mean, Jordan was a terrible owner, right? He was a terrible owner. I mean, think of the bottom line. Charlotte Hornets has just been a bad organization for the NBA, and the best thing he could have done was sold it. How are you the greatest player, or supposed to be the greatest player that ever played the game, and not wanting to build a team and have a franchise to win the title? I don't know. I want to hear what Jacobs got to say about that one.
All I got to say is this right here: because you the greatest player, don't mean that you can be a good coach or be a good owner. That's
That's a great. Yep.
no sir, no sir.
Yes,
Yeah,
But
sir.
because
I just want to say this before we get into Stephen A. Smith, man. So this is on the joker side. Now, since Stephen A. Smith knows so much, and since he celebrated Father's Day with his daughter, the best Father's Day gift his daughter could have got him is to pick him out a new barber to fix his hairline. Because his hairline is in the back of a middle of his forehead. Every time I see Stephen A. hairline, I'm looking at a rooster crowing out the side of their mouth.
I
hey,
can't
hey, you
take
know what's funny? What I said, Jacob? When I see him on TikTok or whatever it was with his daughter doing it, with they little commentating, I said, now what other people would say? Did his daughter earn that spot? Is his daughter good enough for that spot?
There
You
you
don't think
go.
Stephen A. Smith would get all his feelings? Everybody start talking about his daughter. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping the young lady does very well, but don't let it. All right, when you wish bad on other people, when it
Watch
come
out.
back on you, then don't be mad because somebody that I'm gonna take is one person to say his daughter wasn't good enough, or how did his daughter earn a spot to be on TV or something with him. You know what I'm saying? Now he gonna know how LeBron was feeling because, like me and Jacob talked about then, I said at the end of the day, I don't think it was LeBron really doing. I think it was Savannah. I think it was
Mm,
Savannah told LeBron, "Do not
you
let these
better
people
say
talk about
something.
my son."
Oh yeah. Yeah. I
Because the
mean,
mother's love with her son is different. You know what I'm saying? She don't care what you doing. She don't care if you the vice president and Trump talking to you. Hey, you better go in the White House tomorrow and check him.
right.
You know what I'm saying? That's how mothers are, especially black mamas. They don't
Yeah.
play them games. They
Yeah.
don't care who it is.
That was Mama Bear comment for sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the way Jordan LeBron did it, I'm gonna make sure Savannah see it. I'm gonna do it on TV so
Oh
she
yeah.
make sure
Oh.
she know I
Oh.
did
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, I can't. If I had to go in the studio and make a record and dedicate it to a commentator, that record would be entitled, dedicated to Stephen A. Smith. Fix my hairline. Whoa, fix my hairline.
You're right. Making all that money and somebody can't line them up properly. Something's
Man,
drastically
Hey,
wrong.
hey,
And he
hey.
know it's jacked up.
man.
Averaging, what was the average at Winston Salem State? 1.6,
1.9, 1.9 a
1.9,
game.
1.9 a game.
One shot a game, he got off.
1.9
Yeah,
Huh?
I think he's getting too big. I think he's really
Is,
getting too
is,
big.
Yep,
is,
yep.
is, is, is that balling a piece of paper up and shooting in the wastebasket?
Hey, that's getting a loose ball and just throwing it up and hoping to go in. That's what that is. Then in the player that passed Stephen A the ball, he got the ball off the rebound and just threw it up. You know how you play 21 and so and somebody miss a shot, you just take it back real quick and throw something up. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
That's what that or be an air ball on the make it take it on the 21 and you put it back up before everybody can pay it before everybody can say anything. That's how Stephen A got his 2 points a game.
Did
You know what I'm
y'all hear the
saying?
breaking? Did y'all hear the breaking news?
What's
What's the
that?
breaking news?
Breaking news. Pittsburgh Steelers' new quarterback has got endorsed by being gay, 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 gay.
Lord, there you go. There you go, Lord. We about to get kicked off there. Lord have mercy. There you go. Anyway, let's go to
How
the
come?
next topic.
How come? Because he getting
Huh?
endorsed by being gay and biofreeze.
Hey, that's because he's 110 years old. Aaron
Exactly.
Rodgers is 57 years old. That's why he getting endorsed by Ben Gay. Because you know what Ben Gay is saying? Ben Gay saying this will keep you playing a long time. If you get endorsed by us and use Ben Gay, you could play sports forever. That you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron got it because he's old as hell. Let him get it too. Because now we can play forever if we use being gay. Who promotes being gay more than anybody? Shaq. Every time a player get hurt, what he say? Well, he say icy hot. That's his
Right.
thing, icy hot. Young with some
Need
icy
that
hot.
patch.
And what did Shaq end up getting? He ended up getting endorsement through icy hot. You didn't know that,
Yeah.
did you?
So
You know what I'm
yeah. So
saying?
I just think the next receiver that we see Aaron Rodgers throw the ball to on the back of their jersey is gonna say John the Baptist.
John the Baptist.
Yep.
Hey, yeah, hey, it might be. He might be the one the reason why Jesus come back. Aaron Rodgers he gonna be like, well, I played football long enough because I wanted Jesus to come back so he could see me play. You know what I mean? Aaron Rodgers kind of got that kind of personality about
You
him. You
know,
know what I'm
I hear that, and I'm just embarrassed to be a Steeler fan. We signed that clown.
saying? But
I'm ready
anyway,
for basketball season again.
Oh man.
all right, yeah, all right, man, good lord, you skipped over football, college,
Oh yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah. No, no, yeah. I'm just so disappointed in the Steelers. It's just I just can't believe they made that move. The only way I guess I can shake it off if we get another Lombardi, but I give them 6 games. I really do. And then Ben Gable
Mm,
may be out on and Bio Freeze. But yeah, it's
yeah,
just
bio, please. Good
that's
lord.
that's such a bad deal, man.
Well, both of y'all, let's go into this topic. Both of y'all have probably read or seen the show yesterday. Gilbert Arenas, T Mac, Tracy McGrady, Jay Will was on First Take. They were talking about the ring culture. Now, the ring culture all came up from a conversation that LeBron was having on his show with Steve Nash. And he was basically saying that players who only have 1 or 0 rings don't get the same respect as players who have multiple rings. Now, I was talking to somebody on Facebook and they kind of disturbed me when they said this. And they said, well, basically, Tracy McGrady and those guys who talked about that, who gave their opinion on doesn't matter because they don't have rings. And I said, this is exactly what LeBron was saying. This is exactly why Tracy McGrady and Gill and Jay Will protected those players because if you played, you know that y'all know this, guys. If you played on a professional level, I don't care, especially in basketball. If you're the 12th man on the bench, let me take the 12th man on the bench and go to any gym in America. He's gonna bust some butt. He's
Yep.
gonna he's gonna beat whoever's out there on the court. So at the end of the day, I don't care if you're the 12th man or you the starter or you the superstar on the team. When you when in them trend when you retire, whatever that time is, when you retire, you have every right to give your opinion on ring culture or anything else that goes on in that basketball court because you've seen it firsthand. So
Well,
go
well,
ahead, Jay.
Tracy McGrady had about good 5 seasons, and he got off. But he should give a report on back braces.
Oh, what?
Back braces.
This guy, man.
Oh, Lord, I can't
Cause,
do. I
cause,
knew he
cause,
would have had
cause,
tonight.
cause
I knew he would have had tonight.
I personally don't think Tracy McGrady is a Hall of Famer.
I don't agree with that. I don't think that either. But I do feel like, see, think what if you didn't watch it? What Trace McGrady said, he played 4 years with Grant Hill, and Grant Hill, he said he even admitted at the time Grant Hill was the best player on the team. But Grant Hill should be the poster boy for leg back, my leg, my back, my knee. He should be the Ezel of basketball when it comes to every part of his body hurting, because
Yep.
pretty much Grant Hill's whole career he was injured from the rooter to the tootle. So and when Tracy McGrady said, if you'd have put me, you'd have placed me with Shaq, I mean with Kobe, I would have won a couple of championships with Shaq, which I do maybe agree to a
I
certain
don't
degree.
think
I don't know how it would have been
I don't
three, but I think he would have won one.
I don't think him and Kobe would have got along because
No, he said no. He said if you would have replaced him, if you'd have put him in
And,
Kobe's place to play with
right.
Shaq, he would
Right.
have won championships. I don't know if they would have won three in a row, but I do feel that a healthy Tracy McGrady would have won at least one with the Lakers with Shaq.
that's why I'm gonna say no.
Go ahead. Why
Why
you
you
gonna
say
say that?
no?
Because I know for a fact that Tracy McGrady didn't train as hard as Kobe trained.
Oh,
So
without a doubt.
so 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 for the first 90 days of the NBA season, of the first 60 days, Kobe always put the Lakers on his back because Shaq was so out of shape. You know, Shaq had eating eating cheeseburger, drinking milkshake, and and, and he got Hawks and rice in the locker. You know what I mean? So you know, Kobe had a chance, and I don't think that Tracy McGrady is the type of player that's going to dedicate getting up at 4:30 in the morning and working out from four to like 11 o'clock nonstop. You know, you
Okay.
you, you
Hey,
heard
So let
what
me ask you this. Then. Let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this then, Jacob. So you telling me the only way a player could win a championship with Shaq if they had the dedication of Kobe? Because I don't know if Dwayne Wade had that kind of dedication and he won a championship with Shaq. So I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I'm just saying it's other players who won championships that didn't have the dedication that Kobe had. And so you're saying with Shaq, he had to be a player of Kobe's whole body of work or built how he was built to win a championship with Shaq?
not the whole body of work, man, but it just I don't even think that Tracy McGrady had the basketball IQ that Kobe had.
oh
It's
no.
several different things. It's several
Okay.
different things, man. The staying in shape, the basketball IQ, and I don't really think that Kobe mind thought every time he touched the court, I'm going to embarrass you. You're gonna have your head tucked between your legs, and you're gonna have nightmares about me. I don't think Tracy McGrady had that.
Right.
Mm.
I agree.
Well,
I
let me ask
agree.
you something,
I
Coach.
agree totally. I
Let
agree
me ask
totally.
you. Let me
Go
ask you
ahead.
something, Coach.
All right.
I asked Jacob this question yesterday on the phone. I said, okay, let me ask you this first, Coach. Who's your greatest power forward of all time?
Greatest power forward of all time. I'd have to say Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan. Okay. Jacob said the same thing. So, and he said it wasn't because of rings. That's what Jacob said. It was because of other reasons. So, let's just say, and I thought about this. If you took, because Charles Barkley is one of those players that they always discuss of being one of the greatest players that ever played the game without a ring, right?
Right.
So if you took Charles and put him, let's say, on that San Antonio team, and you took that San Antonio team that Tim Duncan was winning with, and put them in either era, put them in the Jordan era where they went against Jordan, or
Mm-hmm.
put them in the era he is that when Tim Duncan was winning all those championships. do you think he would have got at least one title with either way you went?
I don't. I'm gonna say no, and here's the reason why I say no. Charles was a great player, not taking anything away from him, but in my opinion, Charles never made people around him better. And that's
Okay.
what that's I think that's what Duncan did what he could do what he could do, and of course guys and they were able to step up and do some things. But I don't think Charles was that type of player. Charles was all I put Charles and Tracy McGrady in the same boat, right? They could go out and get buckets, but they just didn't make everybody else around them better. And they just weren't a magnet for guys wanting to come play with them. Charles, when I think about when he left Philadelphia, of course he goes to Phoenix. They got to the finals, but they didn't have enough to get over. And of course, they ran into the airness. But I think I just don't think Charles was, not to say that he was a great player, but I just don't think he had enough to get over that hump, regardless of what team he might have been on.
Okay.
And
All right.
so,
I
and
respect
so,
that.
and so,
Go ahead.
and so Charles played with Houston too, right?
Charles played with Houston.
Well,
Okay.
he was like Mo. He was like 55 years old when
Yeah, I
he hit
mean,
the
but he was an old man when he was in Houston. But again, I don't think like with Duncan. Duncan could take over a game, and Charles. You look at the stat line. Yeah, Charles might go out and drop 30, 40 a game, but what was everybody else doing? I mean, he was just Charles, and same thing with T Mac. I mean, T Mac, and I'm like Jacob. I don't think T Mac deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, you have the Basketball Hall of Fame. Well, you have the Hall of Fame in any sport, and it doesn't mean that you have to have a championship to be in the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is but what you did as an individual. And it's individual accolades, I think, which should get you in the Hall of Fame, not what you did. If I won 3 championships as me, like Karl Malone, right? You take Jordan out of the league and you put Jabbar, who's the next guy leading in stats? Karl Malone. I mean, did he ever win a championship? No. Did he make everybody around him better? No. You know, who made him better? Because Stockton gave him the ball, but Malone, how did Malone make Hornacek? How did he make Stockton better? He didn't, in my opinion. He didn't make Thurl Bailey better. He got his
Mm-hmm.
and went on.
Right, 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 right. And I
Okay,
can,
okay.
I say this, Steve.
I agree with the Tracy McGrady. That's the first time I've see, Coach. You've been on this show for about 2 months now. You done dropped some bombs on us because you the first player to agree with me that you feel like Jordan, that you couldn't stand Jordan, and you don't really think Jordan was the GOAT. And then secondly, when you the first person I ever heard in life say that Karl Malone wasn't the Hall of Famer to you. You know what I mean? So that threw me for a loop. I gotta catch up my breath real quick on that one. But I definitely agree with Tracy McGrady. I've been saying that the NBA to the point they got to the point where the college basketball it's not even the NBA Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame for basketball is then got ridiculous because they just put
Oh yeah.
anybody in the dog.
Oh yeah, you just like, hey, what you do? Okay, I ran out on the floor and did my layups and broke out of sweat. Okay, I mean, you look at the class and you go, what? You stop and thinking like that guy's going to he's going to Hall of Fame. I mean, Trace, and again, it's not about winning championships. As an individual accolades, you say what I mean, it's like Carmelo. I mean, you look at his stats. Yeah, his stats are there. And just because they don't win the championship doesn't mean they should not be in the NBA. I mean, shouldn't be in the
Mm-hmm.
Hall of Fame. And same thing,
Yeah.
when people talk about who's the greatest player, are you basing that on what, championships? You basing on championships? You got to throw Bill Russell. You got to take Abdul Jabbar. I love what
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah Thomas said. I think it was about 2 weeks ago. He says, "Yeah, I get so tired of people not talking about Abdul Jabbar. I mean, because you look at Kareem, man, and of course that was the age where they had the centers, but you can't take his body of work out of the equation. And of course, Wilt
Yeah.
Chamberlain, you can't take Wilt Chamberlain. It wasn't Wilt's fault that he was born when he was born and played with the air that he played, but you can't take his stats off. But I guess the airness and again, I'm not a Jordan guy. I mean, I appreciate his game. I appreciate being able to be alive and watch him play. But in my opinion, he's not the greatest player that ever played the game.
And it's funny because Gilbert Arenas, a lot of people get mad with Gilbert Arenas because he said something that kind of threw me off. I never heard nobody say this. He said, but if you really go back to history, look, a lot of people were saying that Jordan was the greatest player to play the game after his third title. And he was like, so if it's about rings, then there's no way he should have been in that conversation even then,
Bingo.
because at that time Magic had 5, Kareem had 11. I mean, uh, not Kareem, but
Bill
well, Kareem did
Bill
have
Russell
Kareem had 6 at that time,
6.
and Bill Russell had 11. So he's
Yep.
like, if you look at it from the ring, if you base it on rings, then why would they even back then? Why they even saying that Jordan should was the GOAT when he only had three? And that's
Bingo.
always been the argument against LeBron that he don't have enough rings to be the GOAT. So I'm just
Well,
like, so
well,
when he
well,
said that, I said, no, I never think about it like that.
I
You
just
know what
think
I
about
mean?
it like this. When when people talk about Bird, Magic, and Jordan,
Mm-hmm.
I say you just name me three players who stop some of the elite players that are in the Hall of Fame. They stop those players from getting at least one ring.
Yes.
You know what I
Okay.
mean?
So
And so when I think about great players, like you people ain't gonna sit here and tell me they wouldn't have won at least two rings if Michael Jordan was in his if was there was no Michael Jordan. If Mike had stayed retired, New York could have won by two rings.
okay, well I'm gonna ask you this then, because you one of the people who kind of always feel like Isaiah Thomas is hurt is hating. Isaiah Thomas the only player as far as a superstar on the planet that can say that he beat Bird, he beat Magic, and he beat Jordan all in their prime. Nobody else can say that. But when
Absolutely.
people say that Isaiah's hating, and I always say reason why I don't say Isaiah's hating on Jordan is because when Isaiah made it, he made it plain. He said at the time when I was in the prime of my of chasing championships, Jordan was not who I was chasing. He was chasing me. It took Jordan four
That's
times,
true.
the fourth
That's
time
true.
to beat Isaiah. But we always try to dismiss Isaiah as if he doesn't matter. Because you can't tell the story of the 80s Lakers, Celtics, and Bulls without Isaiah Thomas. You can't.
So I can let me ask you this: when you mention when people mention Jordan, Bird, and Magic, how many people you know that have watched basketball as long as you have, as long as Coach Goins have, as long as I have, even mention Isaiah Thomas? I'm just
Exactly. That's
saying.
my point. They're disrespecting one
Yes.
of the people in the storyline that should not be disrespected. This is
Correct.
why Isaiah Thomas has always been bitter. I don't think it's just about the Jordan part of it. It's about the overall picture of it all. He beat these guys in his prime, not when they was old. Magic Jordan beat Magic when the Lakers was a shell of themselves, and Magic was at the end of the thing, end of his career. Bird couldn't even stand up at that point, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, because of his back. You know what I'm saying? Jordan still couldn't beat him. So what I'm saying is Isaiah beat these guys. And if you look at the 80s Pistons, come on now. Do you really think them guys right now could beat anybody in a 4 game series? Who on that team could shoot? Not in
Well,
this
well,
era.
well,
No, no,
well, well,
nobody
well,
on the
well,
team can
well,
shoot.
I can't listen. We ain't
Mm.
talking about the soft era basketball. We talking about hard nosed defense. That matters. I don't care who you are offensively and how many moves you have. The hard nosed defense of the NBA in that era of basketball matters.
It did. That was a
Okay,
good call.
okay, but I'm gonna give you some pushback on that.
Mm.
Jordan didn't start winning championships until they put in the Jordan rules. Until they changed the rules where they couldn't clothesline and play as hard against Jordan, he started go. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying when we start talking about narratives and giving you the whole story, when Jordan started complaining about the way the Pistons played, then that's when he started winning more often because
That
they
was the
even got
shift.
clips of Jordan complaining about this and
I can't.
basically saying that he didn't respect. He was on a documentary that he didn't respect the Pistons because of the way they play basketball. It's
I
on
can
the
understand it.
documentary.
I can understand it, but I don't. I think a Green Beret would have complained about the way the Pistons played basketball.
But we always want to go
Oh.
back to that era. That's the thing. We always want to go back to the era when, to me, basketball, okay, if you're on the streets, that's fine. If you're at the playground, that's fine. But professional basketball was not meant to play where people get clothesline after him. It wasn't
Right.
meant to be played like that. But go ahead. We didn't let coach talk. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, no. I
Right.
mean, and I mean, and that was the thing back then. It was no layup rule, right? So if anybody remember when Kurt Rambis, they were playing the Celtics, and Kurt Rambis got hung out to dry with a clothesline, right? It was just no layup rules when it came down to the NBA playoffs. And IkonE's right. When Jordan started complaining, they put that shift in, and and of course, then they start making that move. But when you look back at the, Isaiah Thomas, and Jordan said in the documentary, said the best guard was Isaiah Thomas. And when you look at and the team around them, and of course they didn't shoot long ball, but him and Joe Dumars, what a backcourt. Don't want to leave the Magic man out. People don't realize what Magic Johnson did in a 4-year period. He won a high school championship, he won a national championship, and he won an NBA championship in a 4-year period. And somebody says, "What?" Yeah, because think about it. He left as a sophomore year when he went in, right? Left Michigan State won the national championship. Left as a sophomore, went to the NBA, won it as a rookie. So I mean, he did that.
And coach, I ain't mean to cut you off, and coach the Finals MVP.
Right, and see people say, and then they don't want to. Who's the great? I mean, you think about you when I say that, you let that resonate, and you think about how awesome that is. How do you win all those championships in a 3-year period? And people go, and he scored 42 in the championship game. I mean, and he made
against real
everybody
sinners.
on it.
Against real
Yeah,
sinners.
yes, he said I'm jump. He said, and I'm jumping center that night. And then think about, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and he does that, and he made everybody on that Laker team better. Yeah, that was his position. He was a point guard, but he changed the game about. First, he saved the game, but then he changed the game. Think about the Celtics. They had to go get Dennis Johnson, God rest his soul, to bring the Boston so he would guard Magic. I mean, they just changed. He changed the
And,
game of
and, and let,
basketball.
let, let, let me tell you something, Coach. Let me tell you something. You know the reason why they probably really bought the draft lottery in? Because the Celtics and the Lakers was dominating the lottery for however it was set up because of because think about it. Magic was the luckiest man on the planet, right? Because he fell into a situation where he had one of the greatest players of all time in Kareem.
Yep,
The next year, after winning the first championship, I think over the next 2 years after winning that first championship, he got James Worthy, the number one player in college basketball. And they was a great team at that time.
correct.
Boston, and I was telling Jacob this yesterday. What people don't realize is Dennis Johnson was an all-star in a championship with the Portland Trailblazers before he got there. He had to dummy his game down to play with Bird and McHale and them guys. And he the fourth best player on the team. And even with the Lakers, who did they get as their sixth man? Bob McAdoo, Michael
Mm,
Thompson. These was all-stars before they got to the Lakers.
that's right.
You
They
know what I'm
accepted
saying?
their role.
So
Yes, sir.
exactly, but that's the real reason why they had to change the dynamics because the other owners was complaining about these two franchises dominating, and they still get. And even think about it, when the Celtics were just fresh off a championship, right? Who did they draft fresh off a championship in '86? The best player in
They,
college basketball, Lynn Bites. Now
yep,
think about it. Now they would have had Bird, they would have had McHale, Robert Parrish, Dennis Johnson, and Lynn Bites. And this was fresh off a championship. How in the hell did they get the number one pick in '86 and like that? That don't even
That's
make any
crazy.
bit of sense.
That's crazy, man.
You know what I'm saying?
that's them ping pong balls falling.
Exactly. So they know this thing is rigged. Something
Yep,
ain't right with this pitcher. You know what I'm saying? It took Philadelphia was the only eruptor throughout the '80s before the Pistons got there. They was
But
the
that's a
only
great
icon,
call.
eruptor.
but hold
Huh?
on, icon. People make an argument about how did Golden State get Draymond Green, Clay Thompson, and Steph, because at the
Well,
time they came out of college, each of them could have went to somewhere, Memphis, Portland, just the Nets, people that needed them that was Harvey bad. But they got all of them at the same time, which is crazy.
well, not the question really should be asked of when nobody else could afford somebody like a Kevin Durant. How was Golden State is able to do it? Because Steph Curry's making top dollar at the time.
That's exactly right.
Draymond Green and or especially Clay was making top
Clay
dollar.
Thompson was making.
So how was Golden State able to afford Kevin Durant? You know what I'm saying?
That's
At
right.
that time. So that's what I'm saying. And then because every time they start talking about, oh, we trying to change the dynamics with three players, superstars can't be on the same team, and this, that, and the third. Phoenix made it look to do it. How was
That's right.
Boston able to afford all these players?
You're right.
That's
Boston
right.
got a 10 man lineup, and they all these players making all this money, but can't nobody in the league do it but them. Ain't nobody. Oh, they GM is so smart. He knew how to fit all these players under the salary cap, making all this money. You know
No,
what I'm saying?
no.
We know the NBA it
Oh yeah,
always got a ulterior motive outside of what we looking at. You know
sure.
what I'm
Cause
saying?
yeah, cause Boston got almost 600 million tied up in two guys.
Exactly. And
I
if
mean,
Tatum wouldn't have got hurt, now all of a sudden Tatum got hurt, our golden child ain't got hurt. Now we got to start getting rid of all these players. You know what I'm saying? Because now he down. We know they're not going to win. We can't justify us going into next year with all these top players on their team. You know what
it's
I'm saying?
it's a
So
lot of
so
cash.
exactly 600 million, and nobody else in the league got six
Oh,
hundred
right.
million dollars worth of
Yeah,
players
yeah,
tied up in their
yeah.
players,
And two
but
players.
Boston. You know what I'm saying? Because
That's
because because they didn't want Phoenix to do it. I bet you if KD, let's say KD would have went to New York, he would have went to the Lakers. He would have went somewhere Miami. Nobody would have had a word to say. But when KD decided to go to Phoenix, go with Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, Phoenix.
nah. They ain't gonna say no.
That ain't no good market for him to be there. Y'all got to break that up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying we can't have you in Phoenix. You got to go somewhere else. If he would have did that in Brooklyn, would nobody had a word to say. But
Yep.
when he did that in Phoenix, because when he was in Brooklyn, ain't nobody complained about Harden and Kyrie Irving being with him making all that money. But then when he went to Phoenix, all of a sudden it was a problem. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
right.
I look at it the whole totality, the whole league, the NBA has become basically WWE. You know what I mean? With all the antics and the commentators. You think about it, Stephen A. and Skip Bayless is like what's the two commentators from back in the day in WWE and NWA and all that WCW. All them commentators used to get into it with the and think about it. You even got somebody like Pat McAfee. McAfee is every Monday night. What does he do? He the lead commentator on WWE now.
Right.
He's
When we
horrible.
ever seen that before?
He's horrible,
You know
man.
what I'm saying?
It's a tragedy.
That's what I'm saying. So all these commentators have gotten to the point where they feel like they're bigger than the game. That's
That's
why
the
I asked
problem.
Jacob. I said, "Where's Michael Wilbon at? The old school cats. They're sitting down these guys and saying, listen." And even Charles tried to tell Stephen A. "You're doing too much. You
Mm-hmm.
spreading yourself too thin." What he say? "You hating on me." Oh, but when you say something to the players, they soft, they weak, they whatever. They you know what I'm saying they crying too much. But when an OG like Charles Barkley, oh man, you got more than two commercials. What you talk, it's a different type of thing. You Stephen A, you are a different type of voice than a Charles. Charles is like our comedian that's on sports. You are our serious guy that's supposed to give us the news and really educate us on what's going on. That's what you
Right.
was when you came in the league.
He's way out of bounds. They're gonna reel him in. It'll cost them for it's over with.
Yeah, that's what I told Jacob. I said, I
It's
wish
gonna cost
no
him.
ill on no man, but
Right.
if
No,
you
it's
look
gonna
at
cost him. I mean, he just they're only gonna let you get but so big.
mm,
And that's
Shannon
that's the
Sharp,
thing. That's the only that's what the and you gotta be. I mean, I tell people like this: if they got OJ, they got Bill Cosby. If they if they get Bill Cosby, you better just like and I tell you you better put it in. You better you never worry about what Mr. Charles can do for you. You worry about what Mr. Charles can do to you.
That's
yep,
right.
yep. And think about Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey was the biggest thing on television, daytime and night. Bigger than all, he had a talk show. He had the Little Big Shots. He had Family Feud. He had the radio show. Bigger than anything. All of a sudden, oh no, who is this country? Who this country? Little boy from Alabama. Mm-mm. What did they do? They took his show away from him with no reason. When he had a daytime talk show, what they gave it to Kelly Clarkson. You know what I'm saying? And gave it to him. I mean, gave it to her with no reason why. He didn't have low numbers or nothing. They just took the show away from him. Little
That's
Big
right.
Shots was one of the biggest nighttime primetime shows at the time. Just
Yep.
ended it
Yep.
for
And
no
you say
reason.
that you say that I'll throw this one out before we get off is one, you look at Arsenio Hall. Why in America can a late night talk show not be successful by a black man?
It can be,
Right?
but you watch the documentary. I would say to all our fans tonight who
I will
haven't
say
watched
this.
it,
I say
go
this
ahead.
because Arsenal got too big too fast, bro.
Mm-hmm. Because he was
Like
rivaling what's the name that he was rival with? The other big time talk host at the time. It wasn't
Johnny
Johnny
Carson.
Carson.
Yeah, he was on
With
the
John
way out.
Yeah, with Johnny Carson and then the other guy,
Uh,
not Jay Leno,
I see. I know you're talking about.
David,
Yeah, he always
David,
wore. Who
David
who?
was it?
Letterman.
Yeah,
David
David Letterman.
Letterman.
Yep.
He was rivaling him. If you watch the documentary on Arsenio Hall and the Arsenio Hall show, and how he started having more when he started having more black like type of subject matters when he would talk about certain stuff and he would have certain people on because they went for the point where he would have like because his own people started we started hating on him because he started having some of the white folks on there, but it was always a pushback because he started having like he had the white celebrities, but then he'll have the most hoodest whatever black folk on there, and then it was always just back and forth with him, and he just got tired of fighting because it was like he couldn't win with the black folks. The white folks was hating on him because they felt like he was doing too much and getting too big. So he just said, at some point, I'm just gonna let all this go because this is too much. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, fellas, great show. A lot of energy tonight.
Always,
Um,
baby.
we didn't get to all our topics tonight, but that I think that's a good thing because we just we had so much energy for the topics we was on, or whatever. But we definitely have to do a part two of some of these subjects like a Caitlin Clark and all that shit. She getting hated on too much. Well, we gonna say this before we get out of here. One last thing. Everybody's prediction for tomorrow night, game 7.
Pacers.
Pacers by 12.
Pacers.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna say Oklahoma City by 5.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be
Okay.
nip and tuck toward the end, and Oklahoma City and Shea and Jay Will gonna find a way to pull it out.
Okay. We'll
All
see.
right. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so anyway, everybody have a great, wonderful night. God bless y'all. See y'all on the
Always.
next day.
All right.
See you.
Love you, brothers.
Love you.
All right.